So, episode 3.
Yeah, welcome back on Take Care Europe, episode 3. Auguste, very happy to do the conversation together. It's an experience here, having this conversation with you about digital health, about entrepreneurship, and actually a very open conversation on whatever topic we want to cover.
Yeah, it's interesting being on this side. This time, I'm usually at the back end, but it's very interesting. I think it's important that we chat a little bit.
It's an experience. Maybe if I know you asked me this question a few times, and talking about digital health.
Mm-hmm.
You say everybody's talking about this, but actually, what is digital health?
It's a very interesting concept. A lot of my friends, when I talk to them about them, they have no idea what it is. Although it's very two simple concepts, digital and health. I think it's a very 21st century concept, kind of innovation, because we're surrounded by technology. I think digital health is something that's very recent, although we've used IT with health for a long while. Echographies or anything that you use, any tools you use to read medical data. I think right now we're using hardware and software to better healthcare in any way possible.
And you actually just completed your master in data management.
Yes.
Artificial intelligence. Actually, that's very interesting. You just completed your master, but you have been working already for 3 years in a company. You already started to be an entrepreneur. So how do you see yourself and having an impact in this field?
So I did all of it together in an apprenticeship.
Mm-hmm.
So you do your master's, and for me, it was 2 out of 3 weeks I was working in a company. And basically what this does is it allows you to get hands-on practice of what you want to do later. And in that case, I did traffic management, which is anything that involves creating traffic towards your platforms. So in this case, it was a website, e-commerce website for retail. And during my classes, some teachers showed me how easy it was to create a website. And at my age, when I was 20, 21, I started really become interested in just money, finance. And I think those both work well together. And I think also I had quite a bit of time to work on it. And I think it's also the environment that you're in. I felt like it was the good environment. It was the kind of startup environment that I had in university that pushed me towards being an entrepreneur. I could ask the same question for you. Now you are an entrepreneur. You are an investor. But for your whole career, you were working inside big companies. And I guess why the shift? And for me, it seemed a bit sudden because I kind of didn't know how everyday life was in corporate. But why the change, and why at this age as well?
It's a very good question, actually. After 25 years in Big Pharma or big corporation, I did BCG, Boston Consulting. I did Abbott, Chicago-based company. Worked around the globe, in Paris, in Copenhagen, Chicago, Singapore. And in Singapore, I was covering Russia, India, China, CIS, India, Southeast Asia. Then I did 10 years of Sanofi. So yes, very heavily in healthcare, getting a lot of expertise, doing commercial operations, delivering results, doing strategy, doing the pipeline, managing preclinical projects on HCV when I was in Chicago. So very deep healthcare, both four corners of healthcare, but also four corners of the world. And at some point I could explain there was all logic and preparation. It's a bit of a mix of preparation and a mix of like it's now or it's never. Someone close to me said, Laurent, things need to mature to that. You know, some people become entrepreneur at 25. I mean, you are. And others become entrepreneur at 55, like I am. And it's very interesting because it's after 25 years of experience, you know. So great expertise that then you can use. It's a moment where you say it's now or never. And especially I was kind of saying I've done 25 years. Actually, the way I see it is that I can now do probably another 20 years, you know, of this second step, you know, in entrepreneurship. The other thing I said, after all these years, where can I have the most impact? You know, I could either do another biotech for another 10 years, you know, and I thought actually where I can have most impact is in digital health, because that's obviously a new field. That's a field that starts to scale. So that's the moment where people really need people who have been scaling business, who have been managing business, which is exactly what I had done for 25 years. I also thought that Europe is a little bit at the crossroad, you know, where you have digital health companies who can actually scale in Europe, and same thing, they need expertise of people like me to make it happen. So I say, well, this is really the moment where I can help. And frankly, 5 years ago, you didn't have digital health company as many as now that are actually scaling. So, you know, enough companies you can work on. I think 5 years from now, you'll probably get many players, maybe like me, who come into the field. And here we have a bit of an empty space with a few present, but there is a need of creating a coalition or an ecosystem. So really a need for people like me and my partners. And actually it's also a field where we can make a difference now. And frankly, with the environment and the big need of digital, you know, with healthcare professional retiring now for the next 5 years, the need for digital to complement the healthcare professional who are going to be there and will not be retired, to still be able to deliver quality care. I mean, all these elements really drove me becoming entrepreneurs. And it's very interesting. I mean, because same thing. I mean, I could make it why it's a grandiose plan, everything is planned, but for the last 2 years and a half, been learning every day.
Yeah. And you talk a lot about Europe, and something that I've never said, the fact that you moved around so much in your corporate life, kind of when you get an opportunity, you take it and then you go somewhere. I think a lot of opportunities that you haven't taken, you haven't talked about them. But just the fact that I lived during my youth, Copenhagen, Singapore, Chicago, I think I've never told you, but it's quite a privilege to meet people, to explain where I come from and what I've done already. People are quite astounded. But it's all thanks to you, because I had no part in it, but I did take all the benefits from it. So I guess there are a lot of stuff that you haven't said, maybe difficulties of traveling so much, doing so much different stuff. How was living with kids but traveling a lot because you wanted to take every opportunity that you could?
Yeah, look, some people say if you don't earn your success, you don't deserve it. So nothing comes very easy. So yes, it's opportunities, you need to take them, and sometimes they come from where you don't suspect it. And the question is, do I take it or not take it? You know, that's really that. It's very interesting, the different opportunities I had. Many of them came unsuspected. We had planned for left, and then something came from right, and it looked good, and so we took it. I think it's very interesting is the exploration in different countries I always wanted to do. The building of businesses I also always wanted to do. And even when I was in big companies, when I had some responsibilities and could really build something, develop, manage people to do that, help people to do that, I loved it. I think now entrepreneurship, I mean, I really like it because it's a bit of a blank sheet. We have a clear vision with my partners and so on. But as you know, when you're an entrepreneur, I mean, you have to adjust all the time because nothing happens the way you have planned it.
Yeah.
And so you still have an objective, but the way you go there, it's definitely not as you wanted it. So that's yeah.
I mean, maybe the most important of plans, which is your partner, the one partner, my mom.
Mm-hmm.
I guess one of the big subjects that I'm facing right now is how do I deal with my relationships. Being an entrepreneur, I always want to work more, do more, take more opportunities and stuff like that. But it comes at the expense of your relationships. And I guess from son to father, how do you deal with this kind of pressure of succeeding, but also taking quality time with your family?
It's actually great to do a podcast with your son because things get to very personal topics in that. Look, managing family time is also it's more an art than necessarily a science. Obviously, you try to do it the best you can, and yes, you make mistakes. But there are a few things. Obviously, doing it together is very important. I mean, the choices we made before making them. We had discussion with your mother, my wife, Sunday, on is this something you want to do? Is this something you are ready to do? And when we had big choice, and I had big choice to make at the job, or I got an offer, from Paris to Copenhagen, or changing job in Paris, and I knew I would go abroad, or from Copenhagen to Chicago, or Chicago to Singapore.
Yeah,
it was really a discussion on is this something we do? Are you ready to do that? Is it great, or is it the choice that we need to make now? So obviously doing it. Talking a lot and doing the choice not by surprise or not imposed, and do it together is important, because afterwards it's never totally greener. I mean, even when it's a promotion, you get some great stuff and you get some difficult stuff.
Yeah.
So that's one. I think the second thing that was really important is I was working a lot, and I think when I was in Singapore, I was traveling, all the time during the week. First, I imposed myself to come back to Singapore every weekend, even if I was traveling from one place to the other, from Friday to Monday, and I could have flown from one country to the other and stay there and rest over the weekend. I said every weekend I need to be in Singapore with the family. The other thing I was saying is that there was this rule of like, when I'm there, I'm there.
Yeah.
I had a few moments at the beginning when I was there, but then I was on the BlackBerry at the time.
Yes.
And then, of course, this is horrible because you are there, but you're on the BlackBerry. So you're not with a kid, you're not with a family. So it actually, when you're there, but you're not there, it's even worse. So when you're there, you are there. That's also why we took the whole family on vacation, because there was not a point, because we were seeing each other not so much. Then on vacation, we had to be together.
Yes.
So very important. And then he was also trying to be there. In Chicago, it was the Saturday soccer. In Copenhagen, it was the 4 to 6 soccer in the PM. It was the rugby in Singapore. So making sure to be there these moments that were important for the family and that allowed to get it, experience and growing together. So that's very important to do things intensely. That's if you want to do things intensely, is when you're at work, you work hard, and when you have to be at work, just go. But make sure you get time with the family. And then there was one of the things that my wife is doing very well. Your mother is sometimes you just need to take vacation. And so she was very good to say, okay, now you need vacation. By the way, the family need vacation to be together. Okay. Or now you need to rest a little bit because it's too much. So I think it's really balancing and then listening to obviously your partner who see things that you don't see because you're just in the middle of it.
Yeah, you get overwhelmed with how much stuff you need to do. Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing that I've noticed is whenever I do a to-do list of the day or of the week, and whenever I finish it, I'm like, yes, I finish it. I don't have any more stuff to do. And then 50 things pile up at once, and then I'm overwhelmed and I don't know how to deal with it. So it's kind of this mix between not having anything at all in like a couple of hours, or having too much stuff to do and then you don't know where to start. So I guess that's also a big pressure of being an entrepreneur, but it comes with a lot of benefits. I feel like you on social media were oversold of how good it is to be entrepreneur, free, have a lot of money, and you don't see the small quiet benefits, which are that you can choose your timetable, you can choose who you work with, choose your opportunities. When you have some, of course, it's not as easy for everyone. I guess where it comes next is we're both in kind of the beginning of our entrepreneurship career. And I guess compared to the stories I've heard, is it's been quite fruitful and quite quick for us to get opportunities. And I just wanted to have your opinion on maybe some friends that you know who are entrepreneurs. How are they going about, and how are they dealing with the job?
Look, sharing some experience which I've had changing jobs is it's never totally greener on the other side. So you always has benefits or pluses and minuses. I mean, let's not think. I mean, sometimes you get your dream job, but maybe it's for a few years, but you always have pluses and minuses. It's the same thing with entrepreneur, you know. Yes, you have freedom. Yes, you work with the people you want. Yes, you decide to make happen what you want. But then on the other hand, you feel a lot more alone. Whatever you don't make happen doesn't happen. Obviously, you have a lot more pressure because it's on you. And then, of course, succeeding takes time. I mean, things don't. You can become an entrepreneur from one day to the other, but you have to build step by step to really get to something that makes sense and will be sustainable. And here we can see that. So you pass some milestones, but it takes time to really kind of get on the other side maybe of the wall and then start having things to produce the return that you want.
Yeah.
Talking to other people, entrepreneurs, is interesting. I mean, the people who have succeeded, they give you a few advice, you know, and the few advice is definitely that you need to surround yourself with the right people to advise you, you know, because as you are alone, you make sure you ask for help or you ask for advice, and it's good actually. It's not just okay. It's actually better that you can ask for advice. Don't try to do everything yourself because you make mistakes. And people who have gone through that before you, they will give you some very fruitful advice. I had also some advice saying, look, you have the to-dos and then you have your priorities. And the to-dos is a long list, and the priorities generally in a startup, you can have like 2 or 3 priorities that are life or death for your company.
Yeah.
And so make sure you identify these 3 and that you keep these 3 under control. And these 3 are really the ones where if they are not under control, you can stop everything else. And just make this one happen. It's a very good lesson I have had during the last 2.5 years, is that there are stuff at some point that you really need to make happen. So just make them happen, you know. And if they are not under control, stop everything else, because everything else is not life or death.
Yeah.
Another lesson that was very good is the good moments and the tough moments. When you're in big corporate, you have good weeks or good months, and then difficult weeks, difficult months.
Yeah.
As entrepreneur, you have good moments in the day and tough moments in the day. And when I started, I was going like that during the day. And then my friend told me, look, you have to get used to it, and you have to make sure you can ignore some of the low moments. Of course, if it's low moment related to your 3 top priorities, you have to pay attention. Yeah. But there are many of these moments that they just need to happen. It's just part of life. Not everything can be good. So try to ignore some of these moments because they don't help. And if they have happened, that's it. You know, move on. And then the other thing is that's also a lesson is obviously managing stress and physical shape. You know, is something that you know I've done, and by coincidence, I mean I started a new sport actually in September 22, just before becoming entrepreneur and leading Sanofi, which is boxing, and I put it in my agenda every Monday 7 to 8, every Thursday 7 to 8. It's in my agenda. it's like another meeting. I never accept a dinner at this time. It's either before or after, but it helps tremendously from a physical shape as well as freeing up the mind during the week and coming back completely energized, obviously with the dose of dopamine.
Yeah.
So these are the few things that I would share. Yeah. And you, what did you hear from friends entrepreneur? What are your observations?
Well, I think first thing is you asked me to join boxing.
Mm-hmm.
It was about 2020, early 2024, I'd say 2023. And it does help with, of course you get better physically, but I think when you're fighting kind of for your life because you can't breathe anymore, it's because it's so intense. You don't think about what you need to do tomorrow or what you've done bad the week before.
Mm-hmm.
And that's helped so much through my journey of doing this full time, because as you said in the beginning, I was balancing entrepreneurship with the apprenticeship, and it was kind of the security and then the risk, which isn't the same as right now, where when you're full entrepreneur, everything depends on kind of your successes. And so that's kind of hard. When it comes to the people what I know who are doing entrepreneurship, a lot of them work a lot without the reward that they think they should have. I think when you start, you're faced a lot with people and projects who don't have a lot of money, and they want to save as much time as possible, and both can't happen at the same time. So you need to work extremely efficiently and ask for not a lot of money, which is tough because you need to survive, of course. And that's why most of the people that I know, they're trying to find ways to get around the risks of being an entrepreneur. I thought of an app called Jump for entrepreneurs, where it allows you to get a salary, some ticket resto. It allows you to get paid vacation, time off, and stuff like that. So still the security of being in corporate, for when you don't have enough money at the end of the month, because prices are going up, and I think just in general stress is going up as well. People are just worried about everything, which makes everyday life much harder. And I also think you need, as you said, you need to ask for help. The person who's going to be most interested in your own project is yourself. And you can't expect someone you work with to work at the same speed or at the same efficiency as yourself. And that's kind of hard to get around. When you want things to go quickly, you need to take the time to do it correctly. But it's kind of a good mix between both. But I think especially in France, a lot of my friends, they are choosing the safer route rather than the entrepreneur route. But I think it's personal to my experience.
Tell me, and maybe share a bit more, because now you've taken one role, and then you have started a new one. I mean, you have taken the role of a chief data officer.
Yes.
With Balas Invest, and very interestingly, I mean, you launched the podcast we're on, which is Take Care.
Yeah.
Of course, we launched it together, but I think you were stimulating also a lot on the idea. Being an editor-in-chief, so maybe share a little bit what you do, and maybe where you think it's the most exciting, especially as being maybe a fully digital blood person working with me. You obviously got into digital more than was born into digital.
Yeah. I think, first of all, I think the digital part is the most interesting. The fact that just the same as when you work in business, business is all around, because you need to sell a product, sell a service for your company to work. Digital now has become as essential as business, which is you need visibility and you need efficiency, because it's of course you can sell the idea of being on social media, having a website, using AI, using automation to do all your work, but it has to save you time and not cost you more time. And I think that's one of the problems that we had in the beginning of working together, is we wanted a lot of digital, a lot of automation, but we were faced with a dilemma of, do we want the automation now, or do we want to work more efficiently in the way we know how? So I think it's always interesting to kind of go in between efficiency and automation, in the sense that either you continue how you've been doing it because you're doing it very well, or you try so hard to include all this AI and digital technology that we've been fed for the past couple of years. And I think my work revolves around finding this correct line for businesses and for projects like ours. I think that's very interesting, because it's always evolving. It's always something new, a new way to do it, a new technology, a new tool, new app, new product, new service, anything. And I think that's the most interesting part, is it never stays the same. Just like when we travel all over the world, I think I got kind of used to always changing and always adapting, because I know that I will not stay in the same place, or on top of that, I don't want to stay in the same place.
Maybe tell me, because when we talk digital technology and so on, obviously everybody is thinking about the ChatGPT, and there is a bit of a AI equal ChatGPT.
Yes.
That obviously when you talk to people who are a bit more in the field, they say, oh, it's actually the spread is a lot larger. So maybe share a bit maybe the AI technology or the AI tools that you are using, whatever field that you say is either the most exciting, or that's the one you're learning for the moment.
I mean, it's a very interesting question, because I think for once, I mean, since I've started using the internet stuff, it was always, you look on Google, and what you find on Google are different websites, and so that's how you can proof your information. So you look on a website, it says this, you look on another website, it says something else, and so you try and look for the correct information. I think what AI has brought us, so there's ChatGPT, AI, so large language models, to be more specific, ChatGPT, Gemini, Grok, all of these allow you to search or to create information, and then you can compare all of that. There's always this ethical problem, which is, for any technology, anything that's made or written by humans, it's always biased because of the creator. There's always a creator bias that will change the way you get your answers, change the way you look for something. And I think we're at an age right now where we're kind of forgetting how to do basic stuff. I was using ChatGPT this morning because I was having trouble writing an email. And I think it's also a problem of having to do a lot of stuff very quickly. You don't want to spend 20 minutes trying to figure out which words you need to use to write this email. So I think I'm kind of getting all over the place, but I think it's so complex. I've incorporated AI so much in my everyday life that it's important not to get too hung up on only one way of using it.
Are you also using this thing you call no code?
No code, yes.
Which is a very interesting way of coding.
It's actually very interesting, just the idea of creating an app or a website so that people can create other websites or other applications without having to write thousands of lines of code. No code is actually a concept. I compare it to kind of PowerPoint, where at the beginning of PowerPoint it was just a blank sheet and you had to do everything yourself. And the more it advanced, the more they created stuff like templates and other stuff like that. And now you have tools like Canva who create amazing templates. And you now also have AI tools where when you enter a subject in kind of a paragraph, it generates with images and with the coded templates a whole presentation ready to go in a couple seconds. So I think the way I see no code is efficiency. It's an application of using AI to a very specific subject, and I think I use no code a lot. I think it's quite a revolutionary aspect of digital marketing.
Maybe we did not cover that. We don't need to be necessarily super long, but what is it to work with your father?
It's a very good question. I was thinking about it actually, because we do sometimes have meetings to catch up, and I think it's kind of like how any good relationship goes, is communicating. And one of the first things I said to you when you were going to become my boss was you can't micromanage, because otherwise it'll never go along. Being an entrepreneur is so messy in your head that if someone comes to you and starts seeing how you work during your day, of course it's not going to coincide with how you work during your day. And that's why it's important to have kind of these references and play on those references. I come towards your way of doing and you come a bit towards my way of doing. We have a middle ground which works best for both of us. And I think compared to a lot of entrepreneurs I've worked with, I think it's easiest to work with you because we're so understanding of each other.
So how do I rate on a boss, manager, father scale from 0 to 10?
I have no idea if this scale exists, but I think what I could say is we understand how each other works. And I enjoy your I don't have the word in English, but I would say exigence. It's being very productive and also producing very good work. I think it comes with your experience of when I have to go to work, I work, and then I work very efficiently so that I have time to go home and completely shut off from work. Although it's not as easy as it sounds, I think your experience is what brought this relationship to such good terms. A mix of your expertise and I think my kind of innovative way of working. I think we could go on for hours.
Yeah, we could definitely. And look, I can't resist to tell you what it is to work with my son. I never did it. So for me, it's a new experience.
Yes, it's
actually very interesting. 10 years ago, somebody, I will not say who, told me, Laurent, you are 45 years old. That's it. You have learned your ways. You're never going to change anymore.
Oh,
This is it for the rest of your
what
life.
a
I think
weird.
this was the most depressing comment I had for somebody, was supposed to help you rise to the next level.
It's such a weird comment.
I was really like 45 years old. That's it. It's quite amazing for the last 2 years how much I've learned. And yes, I have 25 years of experience, so I know a lot of things. But when you put new dress, obviously you learn a lot. It's very interesting to work together because obviously I say working as a team, having a new team member is an experience. But when it's your son, it's a lot more proximity, and you want this to work. I remember I told you at the beginning when we agreed to work together, I said, look, I don't do that because you had my son and I just want to do you a favor. I do that because you bring a lot that I don't have. So I think there is also a complementarity that is very good.
Yeah, and how did you choose? Because for me, I really wanted to work on important stuff, not just small projects, because a lot of the stuff that I did in the beginning, it doesn't exist anymore because businesses fail. That's normal. But when you came to me with this idea, I jumped on it as soon as possible because I believed that it was an important project.
Look, I think there was probably different steps. I mean, at some point there was a need, and I figured that you could actually help on some of the stuff, and there was like it was the entrepreneurs, you don't have a lot of resource, so obviously you were there, you were super helpful, and on some specific stuff, you made a difference pretty quickly. And then I think it was a very nice way to ramp up and then see that it was working very well together. Of course, together, you and I, but also we were producing something high quality and impactful. And let's be frank. I mean, we probably worked together for a year or a year and a half before we said, let's actually really get you into Balas Invest and give you this long-term role, where it was not just you get a role, but you are there to also develop. And the idea was to give you not an employee role, but a leadership role where you could actually help develop it, which I think was quite interesting. And it was only possible because in a way you had also the ramp-up period. It was a mutual ramp-up, bringing you to the right level. And of course, now we need to get to the next ramp-up where, from where you are, you can really bring, and I think by bringing this to a different scale, that's how also you're going to grow. So that's a bit of a, it's a learning journey. It's seeing the opportunity as we were creating it. And I think it's still not being afraid of the unknown, because now we are going in a direction, but of course we know the direction, but we know we have to build everything.
Yeah.
And as entrepreneur, I remember also we said, that's great, you are into the company, but of course now we need to generate the revenue so we can afford to pay somebody of your level, because we also decided to put it at the market price, not under market price.
Yeah.
Which I think is also very very nice and very fair of your value.
Yeah. I'm very happy to have had this opportunity, and it's true. It's not a one-day decision. It's taken 2 years of partnership, and discussions and ways of creating an interesting dynamic between us both. So I think now it's become more about limiting our business talk, because although we are both working together, it's kind of interesting to get back sometimes to a more personal and social type of conversation. Because there's always stuff I want to talk to you about when it comes to work, but when it comes to personal, I think that's where I'm having more challenges right now.
As you say, we could go on for hours, and maybe if we shut down the camera. Really glad to have shared this. It was actually your idea to do that on a podcast together.
Yes.
It's probably only the number one of a series. I don't know if it's sharing the experience or entrepreneurship experience sharing. It's a bit of a mix of both, and maybe a bit of family business advice as we learn it, as we are new to this field. But really nice, and obviously happy to have shared it on Take Care Europe.
Yeah, very happy as well.
This episode.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, it was a very good episode. It was amazing talking, so many questions, and I think we could, and we're definitely going to have some more episodes coming soon.
Very nice. And next week, VivaTech.
Yes, VivaTech, and hope to see you there.
Super.
Thank you.
Goodbye. Merci.